She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Brunslick. All right, so we are on the eve of Easter, kind of. Well, you're listening. It's past Easter. I'm on the eve, but it's even not the eve. It's the eve. It's the week before Easter, everyone. As I'm recording. And I think just in, good Jesus fashion, it's a good time to tell you about a fun little dinner game that our family has started playing. W Just to get more information out of our kids, about, like, how their day was, because anybody who has kids knows that how was your day? Most of the time, we just get a good, especially from our 12-year-old. I started a new thing called Who Would You Hug, Who Would You Kick, and Who Would You High Five? The rules are pretty simple. You just think through the day of who would you kick, specifically in the shin, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue to say who would you kick in the shin, and then who would you high five and who would you hug? And it just, I don't know, it just lets us kind of know where your frustrations were. So, like, I think somebody has, like, high-fived an author of a book that they're reading, so it doesn't need to be someone that you saw in real life. Same with kicking. You could, like, theoretically kick a political candidate or something if you felt so inclined, if that's where your frustrations were that day. Seems like a real good Christian way that we're raising these children. Also, okay, if there's, little ears in the room, now it would be a good time to mute me or stop me or put me on headphones. I don't wanna be responsible for ruining anybody's Easter. Okay, I'm giving you time. Cool. So, we are really in the gray area. We have no idea what Ty thinks about anything. So, right before Christmas, like a week before Christmas, she's like, "Mom, can you believe that some kids don't believe in Santa Claus?" And I'm like, she's in 3rd grade. I think she's in 3rd. Yeah, she's in 3rd. And so I'm like, how much longer do I, like, really try and force this narrative? And I'm like, "Yeah, that is crazy. What do you think about that?" And she goes, "I just don't understand why a kid would choose to not believe when you could choose to believe in the magic of Christmas." And I'm like, "Huh, that's an interesting answer. I don't really know what to do with that answer because it's very, huh, okay." And then last night I had a very early morning shift, so I don't have all the info, but I'm at work at 6:35 and I get a text from her saying, "Mom, I lost a tooth last night." And I'm like, "Oh, like, while you were sleeping?" And she's like, "No, I lost it before bed. I just didn't wanna bother you guys." And I'm like, "Huh, okay. What's going through your head this morning?" Like, it wouldn't be like, "Did the tooth fairy come?" I don't know. So it's just interesting because I feel like the Easter bunny is, like, on this list, like Santa Claus, he's on a pedestal, right? But, like, leprechaun traps and Easter bunnies and tooth fairies, I feel like they're pretty low on the totem pole of, like, really? Like, I think we've used thank God, Kirby and I, we really don't sell it very well at Easter either, though. Like, one year, uh, we forgot to put the eggs out after they went to bed. And so I wake up in the morning to the girls being like, "I don't know, are they inside or outside?" And I, like, abruptly wake up Kirby with, like, a slap to his chest being like, "We forgot to hide the eggs." And so I'm, like, distracting them while he is running around the house or running outside of the house just flinging eggs. It's hilarious. Oh, I think last year we Ty found the bag of candy that we had stuffed the eggs with, and she was like, "Hey, why is this bag of candy in dad's sock drawer? It's the same candy." They were just like, "That's weird." So so yeah, happy Easter, everyone. Okay, we have a what do we have? What are these called? A listener highlight. So this is from Dr. Melissa Matthews. And Melissa, thank you for properly calling me Miss Slays. This is, if you listened to last week's episode, or maybe it was the one before, you know that this is now how I prefer to go by, Miss Slays. Dear Miss Slays, long time listening, first time messaging, but it's way overdue for me to write because God just uses your podcast for his glory in such big ways, for real. I'll be going through something and then boom, the perfect podcast starts up. We would probably be besties, just saying. Melissa, I think we would be besties. So, sorry, I don't know where you live, but, like, one day, maybe it'll happen. So, along the line of, like, God using this, oh, that would be fantastic. Please, God, use it however you want. We have a trend. So, with today's guest, I have Michelle Brown on, and she is the founder of ihelpmoms.com, which, if you are a chiropractor that serves women, this is a website you need to know about. I'll let her describe it. It's very, very cool, but it's a resource for like new, or not like new moms, but like moms in the postpartum, potty training, all sorts of like sleep training, all sorts of different, just cheap therapy and advice. So, this coming off of Lacey Neville's episode a couple weeks ago, we're just definitely really in our, like, if we were a Taylor Swift tour right now, we would be in our postpartum era. Except Baron was last week, and so he kind of really messed it up, didn't he? I don't know. Baron seems like he would be helpful postpartum somehow too. I don't really know. So let's talk about Michelle. So she's not a chiropractor, just in case this will help you, because it took me a minute to realize, like, oh, okay, you're not a chiropractor. Sometimes it takes me a minute to put pieces of the puzzle together. If I research my guests ahead of time, would I know this stuff? Yes. But would that be as fun for all of us as we are self-discovering who the fuck they are together? No, it wouldn't be as fun. So I like it this way. Okay, so Michelle Brown is the founder and CEO of ihelpmoms.com. She is wife to Florida Chiropractic Society of the Year, Dr. Justin Brown, owner of CrossFit Vice, and mom to 3 little ones. After suffering from debilitating postpartum depression, unable to breastfeed, she wondered, where the heck is the village that's supposed to support moms? So she created it. Again, just really excited for you to hear about this resource, because as chiropractors, especially as high volume chiropractors, like, I mean, not to say that boutique and like, chiros that have 15-minute appointments want to be being therapists, but like sometimes it's just really hard because we care about our patients so much, but we don't have therapy degrees. Or maybe some of you do. I don't. And so we're just trying to give the best emotional advice. And I'm not a lactation consultant. I can give certain tips, but like I don't have that. And I'm not a sleep trainer, and I'm not, intro to food, and I'm not a potty training expert. But as chiros, we're often the person who is there and feels safe to ask. So a lot of times we just get presented with these things that we're like, huh, okay, well, here's the kind of advice I would give. And so just make sure you have this resource to share with your patients. So let's take a breath and pray. Dear God, as we continue our Taylor Swift postpartum era of the podcasting, my heart continues to just empathize with the woman's journey um, in this transition. And we know that there's so many transitions, and that men go through these transitions as well. That'll be a different eras tour. Um, I don't know what kind of stuff we'll talk about. I'm not a boy. I don't have it. We'll figure it out. But like just specifically around birthing and motherhood, it's such a big step, and it can be so lonely and so hard, and women can just hold on to so much shame. And like, God, if people listening haven't experienced that firsthand, and they don't know how lonely and isolating it can be, and just how vulnerable you feel trying to do something that's supposed to be natural, and everyone seems to be doing it better than you. And so just like whether they haven't experienced it or not, fill the hearts with empathy, and continue to just provide resources and be that pillar of strength and love for patients and our friends and everyone that we get a chance to interact with. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, without further ado, here is my conversation with Michelle Brown on building ihelpmoms.com.
I don't remember if we talked about this, but oh yeah, you like enneagrams and I did
Yes.
Gallup Strength Finders. Like I'm an input, a learner. Like I just like love inputting
Those
information.
are none of my strengths. Okay, so what are your strengths? By the way, welcome to the podcast. This is it. We're happening. So, what are your strengths?
So I've actually gotten posted. I've got activator, maximizer, significance, input, and learner.
You have significance.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is that? Okay. So, okay. So learner, I don't have. I wish I did. Maximizer has to be my number 6 because it fucks with every single vacation I take. And I've had to literally do therapy. It has ruined birthdays. It has ruined my maximizer has created epic adventures, but also just like the worst days of my life
Yeah.
because my therapist
Yep.
would say like, "And what did you expect that day to be?" I'm like, "Well, we landed in LA at 10 a.m. We're somehow at Disney by 10:30. There were no lines. Everybody said, 'Happy birthday, Lauren. You look beautiful.' And my kids were great." And she's like, "How did that day at Disney go?" And I'm like, "Not that way."
Yes, I totally commiserate.
Okay, but to significance, okay, so significance is my number 1. And then I have, like,
Wow.
competitive. I know. Thank you for
Wow,
understanding
interesting.
the, like, issues that causes. So I
Wow.
got my strengths and I was like, "This sounds like Lauren's greatest flaws." I thought this was Strength Finder. So it's like significance, competitive, achiever, something else that I'm like, "I don't know, that doesn't sound like strength."
Strength finders definitely screws with you. I agree. Like communicator is like number 80 on my list. I'm like,
Where's
I'm an
empathy?
awful communicator. Like this is not good. But strength finders, you know, it is what it is. So
Where is empathy for you?
low,
Low. Yeah.
which like makes me sad, but it's just the way that it like came out, you know?
So what's really weird is I have yet to talk to someone that has significance high and empathy high. So like empathy is like last on my list, but
Hmm.
like I am kind of surprised by that because I'm like, no, 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 I have a ton of empathy.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like when you're taking these questions, like what drives you to, like, I don't know. Like, I think that especially with like you and what you've created, I think there's this interesting thing where like we just go about seeing a problem in someone else's life in a different way of
Yeah.
instead of being like, I am so sorry. All you need is a hug right now. We're like, bitch, you need a hug. And then we are going to get your life together, clean up that mascara. We're going to get you looking hot, feeling good. I'm going to fix your life. Let's go. Am I significant to you now?
Um,
Did I fix
Wait,
your
that's
mental
it
breakdown?
in a nutshell. I'm like, yeah,
We feel
totally.
seen.
As my husband always says, he's like, "Sit on your hands. Sit on your hands. You don't need to fix everything right now." I'm like, "Sitting on my hands, but it's really, really, really hard." I mean, this mom just won't stop complaining about not getting sleep, and I literally have the answer for her right here with Coach Jamie, but I'm gonna sit on my hands. Okay, I will listen. I like it's awareness, right? Like maybe that's the greatest thing too, is like Strength Finders helps you to be aware of those things that are maybe lower on your zone of genius list. So
Okay. So I want to kind of work, not necessarily in reverse, but I want to start with understanding what I help moms is, if that's
yeah.
okay. And then kind of work into your story and how it came to be.
Yeah, sure. So, what is I Hope
Yeah.
Moms? It is the Uber for parenting helps. We've got 12 categories: breastfeeding, potty training, mom's mental health, sleep training, nutrition for moms, moms who are balancing business and home life. So, we have all of these categories that, you know, quite realistically matter to me. And when I was making my way, I was just checking those boxes of like, what do I need right now? You know, my husband is a chiropractor, Dr. Justin Brown, and we met when he was doing his fellowship or his associateship out in Seattle. And I was actually working for the Seattle Supersonics. And much to my family's chagrin, I moved all the way to Florida with him and left everyone I knew, all of my friends, and my mom and dad. So we entered into creating an amazing chiropractic practice here in Florida. But when it came to having kids, I had absolutely nobody. And I think in our 20s, I didn't understand the ramifications fully that that would have because we
Mhm.
are a chiropractic family. I'm like, I got this. I'm going to breastfeed so perfect and I'm aligned and my baby's going to pop on out because every chiropractic wife says it pops on out. And I I had a chiropractic friend of mine, she's like, "I cook Christmas dinner 3 hours after having a baby." I'm like, "I'm gonna do it too, because that's, the innate, above,
That's your
down, inside out
maximizer?
life I'm around." And it just did not happen like that for me. So, we were having a home birth, and I had an awesome midwife, amazing chiropractic doula that just I love, love, love. She's my hypnobirth instructor. She's awesome. But babies are unique and bodies are different. And I was not going to cook Christmas dinner like my friend. And my baby just did not want to come out. I had an 8-pound baby. If you see me, I'm 5'3", 108 pounds. And that baby did not want to come out. I had not done hypnobirth this birth. And she got stuck in the birth canal. Things started going south really, really quickly. Thank gosh, though, I am married to a chiropractor and we got that baby out.
So you
Um,
were able to do a home
I
birth.
was able to finish
Okay.
the birth, but I had just awful, awful, awful tearing. I actually
Mhm.
had to go into the hospital and get repaired. It was just a nightmare. And because
You
of all
did
that stress,
what do you mean you tried to go into the hospital and get repaired? Oh, you
I
had
had
to
to
okay.
go into the hospital because I had done a home birth, and get completely repaired.
Like
Luckily,
that day?
Uh, I don't remember.
Like
It was
soon
or
okay, I told you we
I
were
was
gonna talk
not
about this.
okay.
See, this was a new attempt on mine. Also, I have ADHD, so if you haven't listened much to the podcast. So I was like, "Oh, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with the cool product and then work backwards," but then I forget that I have so many questions that there's no like, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no, working in reverse is not ever" it was a good approach, Lauren.
I'm gonna reverse psychology that on you and work the other way now, but, yeah, it was just a blur and, Nate always takes care of everything in life though, and luckily the OBGYN that I needed to go in and get her repaired from, her husband's a chiropractor. So,
Oh,
it was
wow.
just meant to be, and I got repaired and I was able to be back with my baby probably within 2 days,
But 2
but,
days?
I mean, by
Oh,
the time
that
you finish giving
I
birth, you're
literally
cleaned
thought
up.
you meant like you went into the hospital. They were like, "Meh, it serves you right for having a home birth," and then they, like, gave you 10 stitches, and they're like, "Go home."
I mean, it was over the span of
2
48
days?
hours,
No, see,
right?
that was like a 10-minute thing for me.
It was
Wow.
yeah, no, this was yeah. So, um,
Wow.
anyways, she did it quickly, but by the time, like, I got my wherewithal back and came
Yeah.
out of anesthesia and got back home, it was a complete 48 hours, after having the baby and everything, and then got back home, and because of the trauma that no one likes to talk about, my milk wasn't coming, the baby
Yeah.
was screaming, Justin and I are like, "What the heck did we do? And where are all these ladies that said this was easy? Because this is not happening for us right now." And then that shame sets in, right? You're like, "Oh my gosh, I failed chiropractic. I failed the chiropractic ladies. I didn't do this the way everyone said I could. My milk wasn't coming in." And it was just a nightmare. I don't think I mean, we should have brought Justin on this podcast. I don't think I even knew what was going on for days. I was just in this like just depression.
Mhm.
I didn't wanna see the baby. So that
Oh,
was
shit.
him. And to make it even more fun, we had just started our practice, right? We had new practice and he had to go back to
Like,
work. We had
what's
no
the
family.
timeline here that you had started the
Um,
practice?
we had one doc, it was him. He
Oh,
was,
yep.
everything. We didn't have backup.
Yeah.
So when you're a one doc office and you're closed out of a baby, it doesn't work. He had to go back and I was up a creek without a paddle. That is why I gave birth to ihelpmoms.com. I turned to him when I could finally walk again and I said, "This is inhumane." I said, "I just carried and nurtured a baby. I, gave birth and did something miraculous and I have no help." And when we started the practice, we didn't have extra money for a $300 lactation consultant,
Mhm.
$200 mental health. I couldn't even walk to my living room, let alone walk to a mental health therapist to go get help.
Right.
And I needed someone to hold the baby so I could even like learn how to breastfeed. And we just didn't have the ancillary money at that time in our life as new chiropractic family. So people in the chiropractic community being well-meaning tried to help me with breastfeeding, but it actually just made me more depressed because your breasts aren't my breasts, and I kept comparing myself, and I'm like, "Why am I failing so bad when every other chiropractic wife around me was making loads of milk?" And that is really the impetus, to wrap back to your original question, of why I created I Help Moms, because I really realized through this traumatic journey that what we do as moms is superhuman. What we do is significant and it's highly unappreciated and it's highly unrecognized. And whether you're giving birth in the hospital or at home, that support system in the fourth trimester truly is not there unless you're lucky enough to have a family and a support system right there next to you in the house next to you. And that was not my situation. And so I wanted to provide moms that didn't have the $300 for a lactation consultant to click online when you're frustrated, when your breast hurts, when your nipples are just killing you, to get a lactation consultant on your phone and say, hey, can you take a look? I don't know what's wrong here, and have that lactation help you for $30. Okay. Like, we
Wow.
save people so much money because it's by the minute.
Okay.
I never ever want a mom to feel the way that I did, much less you head into the postpartum depression I was dealing with a chiropractor that was trying to just make our business thrive. And those days you're screening every weekend, you're away. So it was awful. And I'm like, I really need to get my head in shape. So thankfully, I had some mental health therapy help that was available to me via the phone. And that's where that idea came, like, how many moms are struggling right now, but
Mhm.
don't want to be open about asking for a therapy recommendation? Maybe don't have an hour of time. But guess what? They have 20 minutes to log on with Coach Patty, who's a certified postpartum mental health coach who helps with grief, who helps with loss, who helps if you're feeling overwhelmed. These are all these common problems that moms are ashamed, and I'm here to normalize it. And I have so much passion behind this because our coaches are amazing. And then you add in what happened with the pandemic and so many women backing away from traditional jobs, but with a real yearning to serve mothers and serve women. And that's where we have 200 coaches on the platform that want to share their knowledge, that are certified experts in their area of expertise. And it's this beautiful story, this beautiful path of turning my like extreme helplessness and shame and guilt and just failing into hope for moms. Because when mom's well, baby's well, when the unit's well, the family's well. And that changes the world, because
Mhm.
moms right now are in a cycle of struggle because we're not normalizing, hey, click, I help moms and get some help for 20 minutes for $20, $30.
Okay. So is it a membership site? So do you have to like pay to be a member and then you have access to a dollar a minute services?
So this is the part that I love about being a tech founder, is you get to look at all the tech sites that have come before you. My pet peeve about care.com is I would pay to be on the site. So I pay my what? $35. Then they're like, do you want a background check? Well, of course, if someone's giving me my kid, I need to pay a $350 freaking background check. And then I would contact the person and they would change their rate on me. They'd be like, oh, I'm $17. I'm like, okay, multiply that out. Justin and I are at a chiropractic conference. I can handle this. Okay, this is within our budget when we were starting, right? And then they'd come to the house, they're like, oh, that's 25. I'm like, why did you just waste my time?
Right.
And so I got to look at these other platforms, and no, there is no membership. It is by the minute coaching, so that at any time, a mom can get postpartum depression help. They can get lactation help. They can get potty training help. They can stop yelling at their kids, stop nagging their spouses or partners, and get the help that they need to be well mentally, physically, emotionally, and move forward to being a better mom.
That's incredible. How do you screen all these people? So
Yeah,
like there's terrible advice out there.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
so how do you cuz like bravo on getting finding 200 people or like, but like so what's your screening process as an entrepreneur of like making sure that these people are coming in giving like are you putting what you think they should be saying? So like for instance potty training or, sleep, co-sleeping, like yeah, how do you handle the advice aspect from these people?
Well, this is the thing that I love. I can remember sitting at mommy group and someone was shaming me that her therapist had said that my husband was a bad husband because he was working and making our chiropractic office go and he wasn't home for dinner. And I remember that was the last mommy group I ever went to, because I was like, what does she know about entrepreneurship? Like, we got to feed our family. Yeah, he's working 7 days a week, day and night, for our family. So I'm sorry my husband's not home, because I was talking about how our daughter is beautifully adapted to staying up for dad, and I love their connection. It's like magical how she innately knows that around 7:30 daddy's going to be home. So she woke up during that cycle to see him, and then we'd put her, like, what a gift. I didn't need to be like ashamed for that. And So I appreciate what you're saying, but I also built I Help Moms to be a free marketplace because I don't think that there's one right way to be a mom.
Yeah.
And we learned this the other day. I had a sleep coach come to me and she's like, "Hey, there's a mom that wants really gentle sleep help. I'm just not the coach for her. Can I refer
Mhm.
her to Coach Joan, who is more adept at the gentle sleep training?" I'm like, "Of course." So that's the thing I love
Perfect.
because we have the working mom who's like, "Hey, I gotta get back to work. I gotta get sleep." We had an amazing chiropractor come to us. She's like, "I have a 3rd baby coming. I really need to get my toddler sleeping." So different
Yep.
strokes for different folks. Like, and that's what I Help Moms represents. And then back to your question about screening. I have a dedicated department because it is really, really important to me that we look at their social media, we look at their LinkedIn, we vet who they're helping, we look at their reviews, we vet their qualifications, we look at their academia, we look at their achievements, and then we allow them on the site. And right now we're on a wait list because our experts are awesome and we want to make sure that we're putting the right people in the right place. So it's very,
So
very
you're on a wait list for moms to come get help.
nope for coaches.
Oh, for
I want
coaches.
them on the
Oh,
site.
okay, because it takes okay, I got that. I'm glad I clarified.
Yeah.
Um, so it's so cheap that how do you have any, like, profitability to or not even not even worried about profitability, like, how do you have money to pay more than just that therapist to have a department to screen?
Yeah. So I think that's a great question. So again, I designed I Help Moms in a way that was authentic to what I believe in, right? The values that I bring to the world. So Justin and I were talking, we were trying to figure out, do we set a set amount and then we take a certain percentage? Do we set everyone at the same rate so we could do a subscription, right? You're rolling through all
Mhm,
these models
yeah.
that you do. But he said to me, is like, why on earth would I join your platform when I have 21 years experience as a chiropractor and I deserve to make X amount and a brand new chiropractor is coming to the scene and you're going to have us make the same amount of money? He's like, that completely will not work in attracting high talent.
'Kay.
So I allow our coaches to set their own by the minute rate so they're able to be as profitable as they want to and it can be in alignment. Some of them do it like Coach Anna is an amazing potty trainer. She's an ER nurse up in New York. She's just a rock star. She now uses I Help Moms for all of her consultation because it's so great. So her by the minute rate is in accordance to what her half
Oh,
an
okay,
hour.
so not everyone is $1 a minute.
No,
Oh, that's genius.
yeah,
Yeah, you're smart.
it's a free
And
marketplace.
like, I just wanna clarify for some of the people listening that, like, that could be perceived as kind of a weird question that I would ask you
Mm,
about, like, the behind the scenes of profitability or things like that, but, like, here's the deal, is, like, I don't think that in the world of chiropractic, I think the one thing we are not short on is heart.
mhm,
We have so much heart, and men and female chiropractors,
yeah,
like, just want to serve. Like, you don't go into this to become a millionaire. You picked the wrong profession if you want to easily become a millionaire. But one of the things that is such an issue is the burnout. And so, like, part of my, like, journey with chiropractors in this process is, like, in order for you to keep for you as mom, Michelle, to be able to keep showing up for your husband, yourself, your kids, your practice, and then this other business you created, like, it has to have some kind like, it can't just be from a place of, like, "I'm a good person," and I like,
oh,
it has to start from a place of good person, but there needs to be something that continues to refill the car, and,
of
like,
course.
otherwise what happens, and this is what we see on a smaller scale in people's chiropractic practices, is they burn out, and
Mm,
then they stop being able to serve. So it's like they
that's interesting.
sprint and have all of this impact for, well, the stats say about 5 years.
Mm,
That's,
wow.
about 5 years, 50% or more of chiros are not practicing anymore.
Wow, that's crazy. If that's
Yes,
you, contact Dr. Justin Brown at
I know, I
FamilySpinalCare.com.
know,
Dr. Brown at FamilySpinalCare.com. We do not want you to stop practicing. We
I
want to
know.
help you guys. And you said something that I'm going to give a little secret of what Justin and I decided early on in our career. We hit that like 7 year mark and he was burning out. He was working every day, all day, screenings every weekend. We had 2 kids by that time. Like life had gotten heavy and big and busy. And we've got huge high volume practice. And um And so we had to take a look and say, how are we going to make our dreams come true personally and create massive chiropractic impact in the world? Because that's what we were designed to do. And we said, we got to create an and life because he coaches so many chiropractors. And what we see and what we experienced at that 7 year mark was personal life was good, professional life sinking. And professional life, awesome. Our marriage was faltering, or our kids weren't getting any time, and home life was bad. And so that's when we came up with this premise of the and life. What processes, procedures you have to put in place so that you can achieve the and of what matters to you in life. And the books Traction and EOS, I mean, they have been foundational for our family to develop those systems. Now we've got 4 docs in the office and we built a brand new 10,000 square foot facility. And it's just been a really exciting year when we figured out the and life. And so if you are feeling that burnout, man, reach out to Dr. Brown at familyspinalcare.com because we need chiropractors
We
thriving
do.
and loving their life. And it goes back to actually what you're saying is that we have so much value for our family life and nurturing the next legacy of chiropractic children and critical thinkers and children that understand innate, and while balancing creating a lasting impact of creating massive amounts of unsubluxated people that can be leaders in the world. And so when you can have value for both of those and figuring out who do you need to hire, what are the systems and processes in place, what do you need to do to make sure that you are balancing both sides of that? And it takes a lot of work. It takes coaching. It takes, reading and making sure that you have great mentorship. So I hope that if you are a chiropractor that's feeling burnt out, man, I encourage you, email Dr. Brown at familyspinalcare.com because we're on a mission to make sure that those chiropractors stay in business so that we can help perpetuate the principle.
Yeah, it really, I mean, I talk about it for hours and hours in this podcast about just like how we go about solving this. And okay, so back to your story. Was that your first child?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then how soon, like literally how soon after you gave birth did the like website pop up?
Probably 13 months later.
Oh, you
I
lazy, lazy.
I mean, I would say
A whole year.
it was like a miserable existence of life for me for 12 months. You have to realize I worked in professional sports when I met Justin. I worked for the Seattle Supersonics, the Indiana Pacers, the
Were you a
PGA Tour.
okay, back to that. Were you a chiropractor for them or were you a
No,
cheerleader?
neither.
Neither? Okay, and, like, I just need to, like, crush anybody who's not watching, like, girlfriend is attractive and fit as hell, so me asking if she was a cheerleader is not an insult. I was like, "You look fit." And I just came off Love Is Blind.
Oh, yep,
Um, where so, like, I'm just like, "Well, she
yeah.
looks
Nope.
amazing," and she okay, so what were you then?
I can definitively say Justin said I always had the coolest job in the world. So I started with the Indiana Pacers. They threw down some yellow pages on my table. They're like, sell some tickets. I'm like, okay. And the Indiana Pacers were not good at that time. It was straight boiler room. Like Vince Vaughn, was gonna walk in and they were cutting ties. And I mean, it was nuts. It was in the boys' world. There was a good old boys club, and I was in it. And I knew that if I could sell tickets out of Yellow Pages, I could do anything in life. And so it taught me a really good lesson about sales and perseverance and knowing how to use femininity to your advantage to sell in a way that was compassionate and caring about bringing families to the games. And it was really a secret sauce for me that carried on of nurturing, like you were talking about, caring, right? And compassion.
Mhm.
And then went to the Seattle Supersonics, and my job was to welcome all the Navy sailor home when they got off the ship with their family down on the court. It was amazing to reunite those families and get to bring them to a game. My boss was Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks. It was an amazing, amazing time. We won the
And then you moved to
championship
Florida.
for the
Damn it, Justin.
Storm. Yeah, and then I met Justin.
Well, so when did chiropractic school come in?
Well, he went to Palmer in Iowa, and then he did his associateship with Dr. Lee Yardley up in Seattle, Nuka. for new mom.
Oh, okay, got it. So that's how
Yep.
then you 2
We
met.
met at a bar after a game one night, and our whole dating was him doing halftime shows and doing the free throw contest
Oh
and
my
filling
gosh.
seats for me. I mean, we had a blast. And then he's like, "But I'm moving to Florida." I'm like, "But I'm at the height of my career." I'm
Mhm.
like, "I don't want to go. I don't
So
even know
what
if
was your
chiropractic is."
plan when for yourself? Because were you pregnant? You weren't pregnant at this point.
No, 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 no. I didn't even know what chiropractic was at that point when I met
Yeah.
him. I'd never heard of chiropractic. And so I got a job offer from the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I took the job at the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then I was sitting there, I'm like, dang it. I think this guy's the one. I don't know what a chiropractor is. I don't know what he does, but dang it, I can just feel innate, right? Inside
Yeah.
of me telling me it will be the biggest regret of my life if I don't go and pursue this relationship with him. So I called the Arizona Diamondbacks back and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm in
Fuck.
love.
Yeah. Why was Justin so bent on Florida?
Because he's a really good son and his parents were retiring. He's
Oh,
like, I
okay.
need to
You
take
moved
care
in.
of mom and dad. I'm like, you are a good guy, dang
Good
it.
guy.
So moved to Florida and I ran the arena for the Florida Panthers. So I was the director of service for 19,000 fans, and those lessons from the yellow pages and selling tickets definitely panned out for me. And it was an awesome, awesome job. So
So did you were you are you still doing that?
nope.
Okay, so when did you like stop that?
Yeah, when I wanted to have kids. So
Okay.
you can't really in those days, females working in sports and having babies wasn't really acceptable. It wasn't a thing that I had ever seen done.
Mhm.
Um, so there was no blueprint for how do you work till midnight at a game and have a baby. And, we again were just starting in chiropractic early. So we didn't have
Right.
like nannies and help, and I didn't have family here. So there was really no pathway. So when we decided that we wanted to have a baby, 5 years down the line, then I quit and, came into just an entrepreneurship situation. I helped in the office for a couple years, which is interesting with two alphas. But we learned a lot, and I have a massive growth mindset, and I think
Mhm.
I'm so glad that I worked with him, even though it's not again, I compared myself to so many chiropractic families that are like the wife's like, "I'm working in the office, and I love that we work together," but it was like 2
Yeah.
lions, like, clashing.
Is that
So
kind
we
of
just
what
did a different path.
you like, did you have to overcome like, did you think that you were going to and I don't mean this patronizing to you or anybody listening, um, but, like, sometimes I don't have a filter between so I'm, like, trying to figure out okay, empathy, we talked about empathy's real low, so I'm like, "How do I phrase this without insulting everyone and listening?" Did you think you were going to give up your or even give up might be the wrong word, this career, you're like, I'm gonna just be content raising children?"
I love this question, and I actually love, how authentic you are in it.
That's what we'll call it.
So, in answering this, I guess I thought that the chiropractic office was growing so much that my skills, having my degree in marketing,
Yep.
could translate over there. But it's very hard for me personally to go from the budget of a professional sports team
Mhm.
to a chiropractic budget and a small business budget. And on top of that, we're both entrepreneurs. We're both
Mhm.
alphas. We're both leaders. So that it was not ideal for our relationship. So to answer your question, no, I didn't think that I would transition
Yeah.
over to just being like
It's kinda like my
right
husband's
into
story. He
having
was
a
corporate
child.
consultant, and then right around the time that we were having kids, our practice was big enough that it was like, "Okay, it doesn't
Yeah.
really make sense for us both to have completely separate careers, like, you come in
Yeah.
and do this." So that I can completely relate
Yeah.
to that. But
But
you
I
had
do
2 alphas.
appreciate what you're saying. I think that I always tell Justin, I think what's not talked about a lot in motherhood, and this is why I hope my kids are chiropractors, because I think that you have such a beautiful opportunity as a female chiropractor to be the queen of your kingdom and decide how you want your life to look. But as a female working at the highest echelons of professional sports, I worked my entire life for that, and just countless awards and achievements, and just working. I would work 3 different jobs because sports doesn't pay a lot. So I was in Portland working for the Trailblazers, and then I'd go and work for the PGA, and then I'd go back to Portland. Like, I did whatever I had to climb that ladder. And I think that it's not really discussed. Like that desire doesn't leave you when you go to have a child. And for some women, maybe it does. And maybe, the career path isn't their end all be all and they want to be a mom. And that's a beautiful thing that I truly, truly
Yeah.
admire and sometimes wish I had more of that in me. But that desire to fuel product and marketing and service and make an impact in the world serving people, it never left me. And so you're standing here with this infant. I'm like, I think I love this, but I don't really love this. I'm definitely not happy. And I will never forget the day Justin looked at me. He's like, I am so sorry, Michelle, but I can't make you happy. Like you legit have to go figure out what's going to make you happy. And it was like an ice pick to my heart because I am a happy person and I never wanted to seem ungrateful that like, wow, we have this thriving chiropractic practice. I have the gift of being at home if I want to be at home. I can help him if I want to. And then it clicked for me. I'm like, Michelle, you've struggled for a year with postpartum depression and losing just your life of what you envision this being. It's so different. How many other women aren't talking about it? And how many other
Mhm.
women could use an objective expert insight when they don't want to lean on their husband to nag or to like to be negative and they don't really like I had best friends telling me how much milk they were making. I want to punch them in the face. I'm like, my boobs aren't working. Get away from me. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And they're like, this will pass. I'm like, it's not passing.
Is that
This
passing?
is not passing. And so that is really where my verb for pushing I Help Moms into the universe came
Mhm.
big time. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Nothing can hold me back now. Like this is it. I have to go for this. And it was just this intrinsic innate force that drove me forward to really bring it to the world in a big way.
Yeah, that I really resonate with, you said, like, I kinda wish I had a little more of that. I think that we really where empathy shows up for me a ton is for moms, chiropractors included, who have a practice, and they kind of were told that they can have it all. Maybe they're the breadwinner, and then they get pregnant, and, like, hundreds and thousands of years of evolution starts working against them. Like literally, we are 40 years into women, like also being in the workplace, like pretty consistently, but like thousands and thousands of years and their ovaries and they're like, how many, like, aren't my ovaries from my great great grandma or something like that? And that bitch did not work at home or she did. And so it's like, and then all of a sudden they're like, I have to go back to work. Like my soul is at home
Mm,
and wants to raise these children.
yeah.
And like I see this
Mm,
in chiropractors, I see this with just patients at work where like, I'm like took care of all through pregnancy and postpartum and I'm like, "So when do you go back?" And they're like, "Next week." And I'm just like, "Oh, that's how are you doing with that?" And like
mm.
I went back because we didn't have any other doctors. So I went back at 6 weeks and then
Wow.
5 weeks.
Wow.
Um, yeah, which was
Wow.
wild, wild.
Oh, wow.
But like you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
And so I have multiple episodes on like trying to set up your maternity leave.
Yeah.
And like the first time was hilarious, but practice kind of tanked about 60%. 4
Yeah.
weeks in. And
Yeah.
so when you're looking at like you're like, "Oh, I love this baby." Um, but my first baby is dying over here. Like, so like put me back in, coach. So I went back in because you just had enough patients that were like, I'll just wait till Lauren comes back.
I know.
Um,
Mm,
and so then the second time I'm like, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna do it right. And then it was even well, it wasn't worse, but it was still like 40%. So, anyways, but like I have more your personality where I was like, it was difficult to go back, but my heart did not break at the idea of my husband and an amazing childcare person raising our child mostly.
that's
Like
amazing.
it was like,
I
that's
love that.
great, but there are women and it's in their genetics, it's in their evolution where they're like, okay, so I went and got this chiropractic degree or whatever degree, like amazing career. Look at you. Like I have this amazing career, and then they have kids and they're like, "I don't want to go back to work." And I'm like, but
Mm.
they feel like they have to. And we
Yeah,
have
that's
all of society just being like, "No, you should want this," and like, but
mm.
I don't know, it's just like so conflicting and so terrible. Do you guys have financial advisors on there?
You know, I do have amazing financial advisors. They are the most amazing. Like, I am so honored. They're actually in our chiropractic office.
Mhm.
So I will send you their info. I adore them. But something that comes to my mind when you're talking about this is how important it is for us as women to stop comparing. And even when we're pregnant, even as we maybe are in those early maternity days, really asking ourselves, like, what do we want this to look like ideally? I think you brought this up earlier, right? Who do I need around me to create what I want so that you're setting yourself up for creating the vision that you want? Like we've got to tap in more to like, what do I really want? What feels right to me? Because I think too many times we're in the periphery of like, what do I need to do for everyone else? So, Dr. Jenna Boschover, I had the honor of hosting the Florida Chiropractic Society panel of women for Women's Day. It was amazing. Dr. Hartley and Dr. Bridget, it was like on fire. Dr. Ashley and Dr. Boschover just had such a brilliant advice about how she set herself up for a 4-month maternity leave and didn't miss a beat. And so I think when we can be open to how other women have evolved or figured out secrets and sharing those openly and just in a place of like not comparing but like truly like these are options, these are different ways of looking at this, because I feel like so many times as women we compare ourselves when really
Mhm.
we need to go into with more of a growth mindset of like, what could I learn from this buffet of different ways that women have done this, and then bring it home to my heart center and like what feels really right for me and for my family. And I think if we could tap into that, we would struggle a lot less.
So do you think that Justin didn't struggle, emotionally with the comparison of how this is supposed to play out as you did?
Have you met Justin?
No.
I can't wait for you to meet him in
Is he
Colorado.
an Enneagram 8?
um, I don't even know what Enneagram he is, but anyone listening who knows him will be laughing at that question. Um,
Why? Because he doesn't compare or he has no emotions?
he's so amazing emotionally. He's incredible, but nothing will ever take him off his line of sight for creating the most impactful upper cervical chiropractic office in South Florida to change lives. Like nothing from the second I met him, when we started dating, our dating was listening to Reggie Gold, going to Sigafus conferences. He would read me the green books. Mind you, I didn't know what chiropractic was. This was our dating prerequisites. He would have me writing business plans. We would be designing our logos. Like I would grab the graphic designers from the Sonics who I was working for and be like, I think I like this guy. He needs a logo. Can you make him a logo? Like, I don't know. And like that was our dating life. Like from the second I met him, nothing has ever taken his eye off of excellence in the art, the science, and philosophy of chiropractic ever.
So, with I Help Moms, so, like, kind of where I was going with that is, like, and it's tough because you are obviously very much married to an alpha. Like, you said it first. I did not.
Yes.
Um, but, like, there are I think one of the things that we're seeing just as an evolution of species is, like, men standing up and being like, "I also am struggling." Has I Help Moms had, like, men reach out and be like, "Can I get access to this too?" Like, you have to
Oh
kinda
yeah.
decide.
There's so many layers of what you're saying. So
Yeah.
whenever I've done a call for like when we transitioned from 2 kids to 3 kids, that was a huge transition because I'm like, "You're not home." At that time, we were building a CrossFit gym out. Both of our parents had died. We had 2 other offices we were building out. Like it was wild. And I'm like, dude, like I need to wrap my brain around what's happening. So I was doing coaching with an I Help Mom's child development therapist, and
You
it
were
was
getting coaching through
so
your own company? Oh my
1,000%.
god, could you
These
imagine
guys are
being that
amazing.
therapist? I would be just like, "Ah." Did you tell her who you were? Did she know who you were?
Course. What kind of founder are you if you don't? That would be like a chiropractor not getting adjusted.
Okay, I suppose. It's just
That would
different
be
when you
so
think
weird.
about it that way.
No, Coach Leanne changed my life. And, it really army. And Justin always says, he's like, I am so glad you built I Help Moms because it makes our entire life better. And like, bottom line, that is the truth. That when I get coaching as mom, I disseminate the information so we're on the same parenting page and he's listened in as well. And
Mhm,
then we move forward together and our home is just so much lighter. We're on the same page, we're rowing together. It's like,
mhm.
wow, it's awesome. The other part of that is I love our relationship because even though we are both alphas, we are, and we always talk about how, my God, we're in our 20s, just both like looking for someone hot and sexy and smart. And it's like,
I did not take my
you're
20s
going
as
to make
seriously as I
it.
should.
I'm like, I can't
God
believe
was really in there and it all worked out, but I just look back and I was like,
it's.
"Whoa, lucked out there."
You know what I'm talking about. Seriously, we're like, how did we luck out? But it was God for us. And we always talk about like life and the balance and what we want. So our communication and his openness for the seasons of losing his dad and then losing my mom right after that. And then of course, like our gym got shut down. We're trying to keep those employees paid over, when the whole thing hit and like keep our doctors. And I mean, it was just, we have been through so much together, starting our life living at Motel 6 and eating frozen dinners when we were opening up our first office to now, 3 kids later, 5 businesses. Like life is blessed and busy, and we've worked really hard for that. But how we got there is communicating. And really, like, I love Strength Finders. I love my human design. I love Enneagram, like you're saying, because you have to choose to grow together and you have to choose to hear and be aware of your partner as you're going through, for us, 16 years, and it's changed a lot.
Mhm.
And especially, we talked about the other day, we were talking about Alex Hermosi, we were having a conversation about how driven he is and how disciplined he is. And I'm like, you're that too. It's just you have 3 little girls that wanna climb on your lap and tickle fight you, and, like, you don't have the luxury of coming home after going to the chiropractic practice, then going and working at the gym at night, and then coming home to your kids to go and sit on your computer and look at spreadsheets. Like,
Right.
you've been awful dad. Like, I love that you communicated that, it was, like, year 11 in our marriage, I'll never forget, he's like, "Don't ever ask me how my day went." And I was like, "What?"
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
like, "What are you
Why?
talking about?" He's like, "I don't wanna bring it home, whether it's a great day, which is 99% of my days, or the 1% that's really hard." He's like,
Well,
"When I
even
get
the
in
one
my car."
what's hard though is the 1% of the 99% days will stick out. Like, you can have 99% of patience that day, be amazing, but
Yeah,
1% was an asshole, or like
yeah,
1% of the mail was like not what you wanted today,
yeah.
and that's what sticks out so much more too.
But sometimes that over time, like we both found, we don't really take anything personal anymore. I think that was like another nugget. So I'll
Mhm.
give you the first nugget. He was like, when my hands hit that steering wheel and I'm driving home, all I'm thinking about is the best part of my day is about to come because I get to see you and the girls. And like he can just like turn it off and it's done. And I massively admire that because what's a woman's first intuition? How was your day? How'd it go? Tell me about it.
Mhm.
And I had to become self-aware to listening to what he was saying. Is like he doesn't want to bring it home good or bad. He just wants to be present with our family in the hour and a half we get with our kids.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that that was just like brilliant in his mindset and his communication. And it's helped all of our family.
So, in your launching of I Help Moms,
Yep.
are there any, like, what kind of marketing did you bring or just experience from your previous career? Can we call it that?
Mm,
Like, what kind of, like, life experience did you, or just even helping Justin's clinic, like,
yeah.
what did lessons did you take, or, like, strategies to launching and getting this thing going, did you, kinda take from previous
Yeah,
experience?
I think this is so fascinating. I actually love this question. And I want to be completely authentic and transparent that I'm still learning a lot of this right now. Coming from professional sports, you're selling one of the greatest highlights of life is families experience the excitement and the fall and the roller coaster of emotions of sports. So that marketing is just fun. And so I always try to bring forward like creating fun around what we're doing. So I think that's what I took from that and like a really high level of customer service because it's such a joy to serve families that are in sports and at sporting events because they're having fun and then you just get to, be there. So that service has always carried through for I Help Moms. But then you look at the chiropractic sector and screenings is like definitely we're screening this weekend. It's just such a great way to get out there and meet the community. I mean, digital marketing has evolved so much. And yes, that's a huge part of it. But the person to person changing lives, that for us has always been like a main component of what we do. Because when they get to meet the doctor, when they get to feel your energy, when they get to understand your vibe and your verve and your passion, like it's unstoppable. And that's like the magic of chiropractic that I love is you're not peddling a potion, a lotion, or a pill. You're really transforming their life from above down inside out. And that is unstoppable. That's just an energy between people. So
Mhm.
we love a screening, right? So I've learned that too, is like I love speaking. I did 2 speaking engagements last week to women empowerment groups because when we can normalize women getting help and access to the tools, we just move forward faster to our dreams. And that's a message I stand behind all day long. So I teach from stage happy in the hustle lifestyle, right? And teach women how to do exactly what you said, like get heart centered on what do you want and move forward with an action plan and what does that look like for you. So I'll be teaching that all over Florida coming up. So I'm really excited about that. And then as we move into the gym, we own a CrossFit gym. Like that's fascinating too, because when you look at social media and TikTok and what you're able to create in a gym, it's so much easier than any other thing. Like talking about the upper cervical subluxation compared to watching someone sexy work out in a gym and have fun and get fit. Like it's night and day. So I've learned a lot there being in different sectors too, right?
Mhm.
And I think universally, I think what the challenge is right now with social media that I find interesting is no one really wants a talking head. Like maybe, like if you're a menopausal woman and you're like actively want to learn about menopause, or if you're, a fitness guru and you actively want to learn, or we have a friend that does, the simulation of the nerves. And, maybe if there's like a niche specific, like I think that's really important, but people want their information within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a really interesting thing. Like, although I am passionate about breastfeeding and, gentle parenting support and how do you, manage toddler tantrums in a really mindful way, like no one really wants to sit through and like hear that talking head for longer than 15 seconds. So it's
Right.
like, where I help moms, I'm always evolving. Like, how do we normalize moms asking for help and normalize the thought? If you do a 10 to 20-minute session with our coaches to get that one thing that can make life easier for you, you should do it. Like it's beneficial for you, for your family, your legacy, your household. So that's where we are in marketing right now, just kind of combining all of those, like getting out on stage and speaking and providing that energy, just like you do in chiropractic or like we did in professional sports, doing fun things at, mom expos and stuff like that. And then combined with the gym and digital marketing and of course
Mhm.
TikTok, all these cool, fun, different things you can do to create content. But now it's figuring out how do you captivate a mom's attention because we found moms love the funny stuff, but it doesn't mean that they're converting to paying consultation.
Right.
Like
Right.
balancing both of those. And I think you got to be really good at a lot of things. And so that's where I am with I Help Moms is just every single day. I work with an amazing marketing company called Avalanche. Her name's I'm a huge chiropractic supporter, which I love. I actually love working with all businesses that support chiropractic because we're just in alignment. So
Right.
I've really been intentional about working with those companies, and she does a marketing Monday for us every single week for all of our coaches, or one of the benefits of being a coach on I Help Moms. And what she taught yesterday, she rocked it. I've just implemented it immediately. So it's exciting if you go in with like a growth mindset again of like, what can I do to attract my target demographic? And our target demographic, bar none, are tired, frustrated mommies that are yelling
Mhm.
at their kid to pee on the potty. Like, what are you going to accomplish with that? Right. Like, you must be tired. They must be scared of you by now. Or the breastfeeding mom that's like so frustrated and just wants to make milk or needs to get back to work, or the exhausted parents that are finally open to getting some expert help instead of struggling with their mother-in-law helping them. Right. And
Right.
then I will say universally, I got to give a huge shout out to Dr. Jenna. She is a dream chiropractic conduit for us because at I Help Moms, I sit here and I'm like, I'm a chiropractic wife. I am a principal chiropractic person who will spout and refer and talk about the importance of chiropractic all day long. And Dr. Jenna, in turn, understands we have incredible lactation consultants and sleep consultants that hear me talk about chiropractic all day long to them. And so that beautiful relationship where she trusts I Help Moms and I'm going to give her the best coaches to help her moms. So it doesn't take away from their chiropractic investment,
Right.
but $30 and they can invest the rest of that money. So instead of her referring to maybe like a lactation consultant that's 300, then that mom's like chiropractic or breastfeeding, chiropractic or
Right.
breastfeeding. They're going to choose breastfeeding most of all because they need to produce some milk. Or if they're
Mhm.
like, oh, it's $850 to get a 6 week sleep plan. No, come to Coach Jamie and get
Mhm.
coaching for $40 and be on your way.
Right.
Like I can't say enough thanks for Dr. Jenna. And I really appreciate you having me on, Lauren, because if I can get more chiropractic women who own pediatric practices to hand I Help Moms card out and say, this is owned by a chiropractic wife. She has amazing resources. Reach out to Michelle. She'll get you the right person. Like, man, it leaves more money for you guys to have them invest in chiropractic adjustments and allows us to come from a chiropractic space of promoting chiropractic, promoting the importance of it, and get them affordable help. So we're both winning. So thanks for having me on because
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah,
I can find
100%.
more pediatric practices to be like, wow, I hope moms would be a great idea because I tell Justin all the time, I'm like, your credibility in my eyes as a chiropractor goes up, Justin, when you can say, yes, I hear you. I see you. I understand that having a baby is a really stressful time. Call Coach Jamie. It's on I Help Moms, run by my wife. She will help you and get you help immediately. Like, what a value for chiropractors.
Right. So I like the way that you phrased that. Okay, so like what kind of resources do you have for, okay, what would it be? B to C. Like for like chiropractors who want to use I Help Moms and referrals, like do we send them to Instagram? Do we send them to the website? And then also I really love like on the website, do you have coaches? Is there like, because I would much rather say like, "Hey, go seek out Jamie on this lactation consultant thing," because I think the patient is more likely to do it of like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I am looking for a specific person," versus like they're already overwhelmed. They go to
Yep.
I Help Moms or
Yeah.
maybe they forget and then they're like, "I don't even know where to start
Yeah.
because I've, you know."
No, I love it. So for Dr. Jenna's office, I just created a card of my top 4 coaches that are amazing. So it's Coach Jamie, Coach Anna, Coach Ariana, Coach Leanne. They're bar none my best coaches, and I just customize the card for your office with a
So
QR code. So all they do is hold their phone up and they can book a call.
so that's something that a chiropractor could get?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty exciting. I want one. I want one. So, okay. So then if we, okay, where, if you're a mom listening or, and you want help, where do they go? If you're a chiropractor who wants to start incorporating more, just more resources,
I
right?
love
Like,
it.
because especially I see a lot of more high volume chiropractors, or sorry, high volume clinic but we do a lot of pediatrics and prenatal. And so my heart breaks for all these moments where, and I also am not a lactation consultant
Yeah.
at all.
Which
And
so many
so
people try to be, and I'm like, "What if we could just alleviate you from having to spend that extra 15 minutes, maybe helping a mom, maybe not helping a
yeah.
mom, but just if you can say, 'I hear you, I see you, I recognize you. I have the resource
Yeah.
because I'm actually connected to another chiropractic wife that started this and will help you all the way.'"
And
Right?
if
And then
you're a
go on to the next
chiropractor,
patient.
like, and this is kind of one of the conundrums that like chiropractors get into where it's like, I would love to give this mom 15 minutes. Let's say I
Yeah.
did know, but during that 15 minutes, I didn't see 5 people.
Yeah.
And in order for me to spend 15 minutes consistently with
Yeah.
someone, I would need to charge like $300 or whatever for that. And so you're like, but I
Exactly.
want to help, but I don't want to. No, 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 no. And so like I can just see this being a really amazing resource of
Yeah.
like, this is what you
And
need.
I want to ask you back because I'm always curious. I have many female chiropractors that are actually like love this idea. What can I do as a founder then to
Mhm.
make it really easy? Is it like a sticker that you can stick somewhere that's like, hey, just go to this resource. This is your breastfeeding. Like, what are the top 2 things then maybe in your practice that I hope moms could serve your moms with? Is it potty training? Is it breastfeeding? Like, what is it
Right.
for you?
So I would say probably the two main things would be a consumer facing website, obviously, like you have, that if there's someone that's their jam is they're going to go while they're breastfeeding
Yep.
or, whatever, something that will explain it really thoroughly.
Okay.
and then something that I can hand them. And so
Yeah.
I wouldn't even need you like, you don't need to ship me something, but like literally just emailed, like, send this to Staples and
Amazing.
get this printed. I think is exactly what, just something that you can put in their hands because I feel like so much of this ideal market, they are just in this fog. And so,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
sometimes I just feel like I'm like, "Hello, I'm trying to help solve your problem right now." And then they, like, go to, like, this other thing,
Yeah.
like, where it's like, "Oh, I thought we were talking about breastfeeding. Now we're talking about your husband. Okay, and I really do have to go because I have 2 patients. So I just here you go. Here's a thing. Maybe you won't remember the
So
website that I
good.
just told you, but, like, shove this in your
So
purse
good.
and later look at it." So those are the
Yeah.
2 things that would
I
help.
love it. Would you say sleep is up there too? Moms just like
Oh,
severely want sleep with their kids.
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like,
So that makes it easy for me. That's like a two coach card,
mhm.
and that's like super easy, super fast. And I love that. And it's interesting. I'm going to be teaching hypnobirth all over the world. Can you imagine how many people I can send to chiropractors?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
hypnobirth changed my life. A chiropractor taught it, helped me to understand it, and I went through her classes, and now I'm being certified. And that is a relationship I want for chiropractors to see the bigness that we are a chiropractic family that wants to change the world together. And so I
Mhm.
really appreciate you understanding that it's not this or that. I think if we can work in conjunction and collectivity with one another, we move the whole vision further faster,
Right,
right?
and I
It's
think
just
chiros
having
just
these
innately get
conversations.
that, where it's like, gosh, it's never been supposed to be this or that. The only time it's this or that is when I send you to a pelvic floor physical therapist and they literally tell you, you should stop going to the chiropractor. All of a sudden, you made this a this or that thing. Like, you caused that problem. You will not get my referrals no more.
Yes,
So,
yes, exactly, exactly.
all right,
So
Michelle. So,
that's
what is the website? Where can
yeah.
we go send people to?
Yep. So, if you're a chiropractor and you're open to being in collective with me to help more people, it's info@ihelpmoms.com, info@ihelpmoms.com. If you're a mom that wants me to refer you the best sleep coaches, the best breastfeeding consultants, if your little one's having tantrums and you're just beyond it, or you want great potty training, you can email me too, and I'll answer info@ihelpmoms.com. Or you can just check out the website at ihelpmoms.com and you'll see all of our coaches. But I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. I may not be a chiropractor, but I definitely have the warrior heart that wants to serve and create a better, healthier, happier, more connected humanity. So I'm
I
grateful to
love
you.
it so much. All right, she slayers, check those things out. Make sure you are like, yeah, send people to that because this is just the lack of resources in the postpartum world is, it's getting worse. It's absolutely getting worse. And so having something like this, especially as someone who practices in a rural town where there's not a plethora, just having this virtual option is incredible. And I thank you for it. And I can't wait to get to know you more. From what little I know about Justin, I'm like thinking he's probably an Enneagram 8, but I
Get
cannot wait to
ready.
meet him. Um, and
Yes, that's
we'll
awesome. Will I see you in Colorado?
not in Colorado, but Boca Raton. So,
Oh, even better.
yep.
Yay.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I am so excited, Lauren. Thank you for having me. Your podcast is amazing, and I'm just really happy and honored to be connected.
Thank you, Michelle, and I hope you didn't take any offense that I asked if you were the chiropractor or cheerleader, because 'cause you're hot as fuck, so my brain just was like, "But she's confused."
Oh, I love it. I love it. I always say chiropractors are the most amazing people in the world. God just didn't lead me down that path, but I sure am grateful for you. And who doesn't love a good cheerleader? My gosh.
I'd be like if somebody asked me, I'd be like, "Well, actually, thanks, I was not, I was actually running the show, but thanks for being sexist." Alright.
Surprise me. You running the show. I love it.
Alright, she slayers,
Love
until
that.
next week, bye.